All right, we'll call the meeting to order at 5:19. Mark, do we have any guests online to introduce?
Not presently.
Okay, good. We'll move right along. Any changes to this agenda other than the duplication of Pam's name? None?
Well, I would say number 4, we would probably end up deleting.
Move it forward, or we can't hear from Markley.
Mark Lee's not here, so we will put item 4 to the next meeting.
Mhm.
We'll be right along.
Right? See, when Lynn runs the meeting, no, just kidding. So number 5, funding discussion. So Pam and I met, those are your 2 attachments. I just took bullet notes, front and back. And then the consultant, Mary Beth Canning, sent us a couple slides, and which is the pictures that Pam printed out here.
I really felt like the pictures said everything.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
There are a few points that Lynn has that she'll cover, but it is very fascinating to me, all of the demographic studies that they do and how much they know about us by pressing the button.
and as you read through the notes that I took, a lot, I took notes just to reminders for me, and then I'm like, well, why don't we share it, because I'll forget stuff. But one of the things that she really focused on was her approach being a lot of research and creating her strategies from the research and the data that she gathers. And as you can see, I didn't even know she was going to do this for us.
She was very gracious with sharing it.
Yeah, we're like, hey, this would be great to show our committee. Can you share your slides? And she's like, sure, no problem.
She was the key fundraiser for Maine General. She has a very tight Alphon connection, but she was kind of clear with us that we're not Alphon material. So that we don't fit the box that they have now. But she certainly had a feel for that type of stuff. Sorry, Lynn, but
No.
It helps to give a little bit of the background. Is this the person that Mark Lee recommended for us?
Mark Lee has not recommended anyone.
Okay,
He's not
All right.
responded to my email that I sent after the last meeting.
okay.
So,
So this isn't the one that Evan had recommended. This is someone else.
correct.
that
This
we
is
found.
just, I just did a search. I just did a Google search,
Yeah.
fundraising consultants near me, and her name came up in Brunswick, and I looked at her
Wow.
website, and I'm like, oh, she's got a lot of experience, and I just sent her an email. She answered me right away, and super pleasant lady, I get the
Personable, yeah.
impression she's very knowledgeable. She has raised millions and millions of dollars
done
on various
Leahy
campaigns.
Clinic
Yeah,
and
Dana
A number
Farber.
of medical.
Yeah. She has worked with Harriman and Associates before too, so I thought that was interesting.
I think she worked with them on the Alphonse Center in Waterville.
Probably that would make the most
Yeah.
sense. I don't remember her saying specifically, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Where is she from?
She lives in Brunswick.
Oh.
Yeah, so she's in our backyard,
Oh,
which is really nice too.
Great.
So she gave us, between the slides and kind of what I typed up is a good, if you go to the capital campaign phases after the Topsham overview. These are the strategies and just a brief description of how she approaches things. And then the timeline.
Can we just read them? So we're all on the same page?
Okay, so
Do
the
that together.
capital campaign phases. Number 1 is the pre-campaign planning. That's where you define your vision, goals, and internal readiness. 2 is a feasibility study. So she does a test case and fundraising goals with key stakeholders. 3 is the actual campaign planning, where you finalize your strategy, timeline, and leadership. And just a side note on that, she would be working a little bit differently with us, because she said with other places she works with like CFOs and marketing managers, and we don't have that. So it would be a little bit different. She would pretty much be doing everything. 4 is what she calls the quiet phase, where you secure lead gifts from major donors. And then 5 is where you do the actual kickoff of the campaign to the public. So essentially what she said is you do all this background work and you get your major contributors. And I think she said like 50 to 75% of your donations come in that respect. So then when you go to the public knows the commitment
real.
is there and that it's real. And it may not feel quite as intimidating to them to say, oh, we need to raise this many millions of dollars. So then number 6, the public phase, you broaden your outreach and you complete your fundraising. And then 7 is you celebrate because you raised all your money.
I thought what was helpful is when you make your presentation to the selectmen, having stuff like this, to let them know that you've really explored what you've got to do and really how we have to focus. And I have to say, this, my sense of it from her was this is a whole different committee from this committee. It is specific people that you pick from the community that have contact, have people that they can knock on doors, on big doors, that type of thing.
Yeah, and she almost does like I guess for lack of better words, a vetting process. So people that want to volunteer, she'll have conversations and knowing her, she's got some set of guidelines that she uses in asking people to draw out what they're best at, what their skills are at. So she's really, I just thought she was so thorough with everything. I was obviously very impressed with her.
She actually teaches classes in fundraising.
Yeah.
Master level.
Yeah, yeah.
The one thing she didn't give us was she felt that when we went to the board, her first 3 slides were important, but she also thought we should have a pie, and that pie should show up how we break down our fundraising campaign. How much do we want from corporate? How much do we think the town's gonna put into it? How much do we have from other possibilities, whether they're partnerships or whatever? But to really break it down with a pie to get to the 100%.
Yep. And I think that would be a great visual. She actually said she would come to the meeting too,
If we want.
if we wanted her. So of course, the big question then leads to the cost with hiring a fundraising consultant. And on the back side, my last notes, she didn't come right out at first
I asked
saying,
her.
this amount, Pam did, well, I was gonna get there, but Pam beat me to it. You know, if we told her, okay, you know, we can only afford X amount of dollars, she will work within that budget. It may not be quite as involved, I would say, but she can do something like that. But she said something like this, she says you're probably looking at $30,000 to $40,000 with a probably minimum of a 3-year campaign. So with her to guide us and do all of this research and data and pull information. One thing that she did tell us is, I assume she subs out from the way she was talking.
She is, but she's changing.
Yeah, yeah. So people that she hires to do research like this, apparently they charge a lot of money. She said that's one of the biggest expenses that she runs into. So, but she's trying, like Pam said, she's trying to change that. So
Go to
she
in-house.
has more of an in-house system. Which, if we ever got to the point of hiring her, she'd probably be at that point. So,
We basically would be fundraising to pay for her, right? Or do we have to pay for her out of our money? I don't know how that.
We didn't get there.
yeah, we didn't get there.
I mean, in the end, it's
Yeah.
potato.
Exactly, so,
Right.
but it feels like maybe that's a good thing.
And what does the town require, if we really loved her and wanted to hire her, are we required to go get bids from other places?
You can justify not getting bids. So, I mean, one thing you've already got in the favor of using her is you tried the other person that was recommended in the area and that person refused.
Yeah.
So it's not like you just jumped at the first thing.
Okay.
And if we went out and say contacted 1 or 2 more, and then we can certainly justify if you interviewed some and you're like, this is based on fit and price, we think this is the best person, that so would we go for that and is entitled to go for that.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you look at it over a 3-year period,
Yeah.
to me, that breaks down pretty good expense.
Is that a year or that's total?
That's
Total.
total
30 to 40,000 for 3 years.
for the campaign, yeah,
Yeah.
And for her expertise, that sounds good.
yeah.
We kind of went through this with her and she said she'd be willing to come, but I really feel like the first time we go back before the select board, it should be this committee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
From past experience,
Yeah, yeah,
Leslie,
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
smiling at you.
Tread slowly.
You still planning to try to come back on the 19th? Is that the plan?
Well, do you think we should wait till July?
I think it's a good time to come back. I actually mentioned something to Roland, or the Chair Tufts, that you guys were probably gonna come back and do an update. He said, oh, good. So he was kind of anxious to hear from the committee. So, but I wouldn't bring her yet. I think it's basically, it's like, here's where we're at as far as our work with Harriman Associates. Here's what else we're doing. Here's one thing we've done, and I think they'd be excited to hear that stuff.
We could tell them that
Good information.
we're checking in on consultants as well,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
They'd be happy to hear that.
We're not the 19th, when are we?
That is the next select board meeting.
It's a holiday, we're closed.
We're still meeting.
We had written down at the last meeting that we were gonna wait to hear after the last board meeting to see if they were gonna.
do we want to meet, oh, sorry,
If you don't want to go the 19th, you don't have to. It's just if you want to, we've got to place the agenda.
I think it was possibly the next ones were, the timing
The
was.
3rd, you don't want to go, because now the big presentation that was supposed to have happened beginning of June,
Oh,
they've asked
yeah.
to move that till July 3rd. So,
And yeah, you would, okay. I think that's also what you were talking about, that we were waiting to hear what that presentation
Yeah.
was.
So the second one in July.
if you'd rather, you can do that one, yeah.
I just wonder if we should wait until Mark's at another meeting before we, I don't know, do we need more updates from him before we give them an update?
I think money is important. I think what we're waiting on from Mark is pretty important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But this isn't the actual
no, this is the
presentation of
final.
his stuff.
Oh, sure, we could just an update.
Basically, it's just say, here's what.
This is what we've been doing. We're not asking for anything.
Exactly.
We're just giving an update. And we
Yeah,
could still
well, we
stick
could
with
do
that.
that then.
What kind of a guarantee does she give us for 30 to 40? I mean, was she thinking that this is feasible? Like,
She said she'd sit down with us when the time came and really work out what we needed.
did she
and then
seem positive about
Oh,
raising
very.
a good amount of money for
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think she was a little taken back when I told her what Mark had kind of roughly said to us, the 34
yeah,
figure. And we admitted we were kind of
I think
shocked
a lot
by
of
that.
people are.
Huh?
I think a lot of people are.
I know. So
I mean, we're
I
not
think
building
she
a high
kind of, but that all is still yet to be worked out. I
Right.
mean, are we doing it in phases? Are we, are we doing it at the fairgrounds? Are we doing it at the hillside? Those are all things that are still have to be figured out, right?
and keep in mind that her cost estimate is based on a capital campaign of us raising $30 million. I don't think we're gonna have to raise all 30 million.
Everyone would love it
So,
if we
you know,
did, but.
well, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, but, I also think that this is kind of, I don't wanna say minor to her, but I mean, she has so much experience and has raised millions and millions of dollars. I mean, she's been doing it for 20+ years.
I mean, I think the select board, even if they were expected that night to pick her, if you could say, here's some work we've been doing, we've been looking around to see what potential's out there for fundraising consultants. We've had one that, didn't work out because they conflicting stuff. But
Yeah.
We've got another one, here's what we find, and I think they'd be excited to hear that you're pursuing those avenues. too,
Yeah.
I think.
You can do that.
Thank you, that's great. Great news.
Yeah, we met with her for a little over an hour. And, her and I have a lot in common. So that was kind of neat too.
I think it happened after the last meeting, but I talked to Phil, the town attorney. I don't think I told you guys this before, but, and he said that we could absolutely dedicate a fund so that we could promise people that any donation over X amount of money would get returned if for some reason the building didn't happen or something, which I think would help with the fundraising stuff. So,
And I'm sure she'll have experience.
With that,
What's her name,
yeah.
Megan?
Maribel.
Maribeth.
Mary Beth.
Yep. Yep, so that's that,
That's exciting.
So
yeah.
And then we could.
we're talking July 17th
No, or June 19th.
or June 19th.
June 19th.
Maybe Mr. Gleason can help us with fundraising to pay for her fundraising. I mean, once you're talking 30 to 40,000, that's when the bake sales and the festivals start coming in, right?
Who's Mr. Gleason?
He was one of the guys that sat in on our fundraising,
Oh.
our community fundraising efforts. And he had a lot of good things to say and experience in a nonprofit fundraising.
Oh, yeah.
What time on the 19th?
6:30.
Starts at 6:30. Yeah.
6:30.
Usually
And you guys.
committee updates are one of the first things. So
One
you'd
of the
be
first things.
on the
Okay.
agenda.
Can you be there?
And leave right away. Don't give.
Oops, I put 6:30 AM, not PM. Okay, so,
Make that work.
all right, cool. So Steve and I will be there and anyone's welcome to join us.
And Rosie, is that to, are you doing the agenda for that?
She's back Wednesday, but we're putting it together.
So
And you don't have to make it written in advance. Just come present that night if you want.
okay, so key things to touch on is speaking with the consultant. And what else?
Just update where things are with Harriman.
Yeah, certainly
I
would.
would kind of go through the contract, not the contract, but everything that Mark has done so far.
Okay.
And if you guys have slides that you want.
Definitely include, I forget what we called it, but the location sort of decision-making process we had.
The charrette,
What's that?
the charrette from January.
Yeah, the charrette. Maybe you should be there just to say that word.
I was thinking Rick Charette.
I know, this Rick Charrette band.
We probably should have the two site plan maps.
Yep.
Not necessarily to put up on the screen, but to share with them. What do you think?
Well, we have you're talking A, B, C, and D.
Or?
No,
not
no,
the
the
building,
actual land.
Location.
The actual
They
property.
already know that part though.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is Mark Lee the one giving us the information on the cost difference between the two pieces of land?
Yeah.
I hope so. Yeah. Or the
That's
cost
what
of
he
putting
left.
utilities in it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Right,
when I left, that's
Not
what
the
he was
whole
supposed to do.
project, but definitely whether it's a $2,000 or a $50,000 difference or.
I can't imagine the fairground site isn't considerably more for the utilities, but
That would be so much better.
the only reason it might not be is building the road up the hill maybe is more challenging because of the incline and stuff. But you got water right at the property border from Harbor Ave, and you get sewer right at the Legion, so you've got sewer and water much closer for the Forsyth side. But on the other hand, the legislature so far is moving through the votes to allow the railroad tracks to be turned into a trail, so it would be nice to have the building and the parking lot serve both purposes of the
For the Forsyth,
recreational
I mean,
trail.
for the
Fairgrounds.
fairgrounds, which would also be easy accessible to a lot of the elderly homes and
Right,
as well as all the schools.
we get asked to go speak to, I'm gonna call it the original Highlands, the one on Elm Street today, to their owners committee, that probably was, I'd say about 100 people there.
You did go?
Yeah, and myself, Jeff, and the two interns, and told them some of what we're working on for the community center, and the group was really excited, interested. And they said they wanted to have a further meeting with some of the administration of the company that owns the place and us to maybe see if there's a way they could partner with us. So that could potentially be something.
So one of the guys that had signed up on the survey,
Yeah,
lives at the Highlands and he has fundraising experience and grant writing experience. So I really want to reel him in too.
Mhm.
And that he would be probably perfect for something like that.
Highlands or Highlands Green? Because they are very different.
Yeah, they are different. I don't know. I'd have to go back to the
Although in
detail.
many ways not that different. Like the
Yeah.
group that I was speaking to, a lot of them are they live in the independent, in the cottages and stuff. They're
Yeah.
not- There may be some in the assisted living, but most are in the,
Mhm.
so, there's a lot of people, they want to get more involved in the community and they're looking
Yeah.
for ways to be part. So I thought it was good, positive information that they would have interest.
So,
Is that something we wanna mention to the select board, like whatever, any kind of outreach or, you know, that kind of thing?
I don't think it hurts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would think so.
take a note so you can talk.
I can
about
see you are.
it. Okay, anything else about funding? I don't think we're at a point yet to schedule another meeting.
Yeah, I think the next step is to find maybe a name or two from Mark Lee.
Yeah, and a number.
And a number, and then just have a couple to compare.
I think you're right. And that way, when you report back to the select board with the final thing, you can say, here's the building thoughts, here's the fundraising thoughts, here's the, so they
Right.
kind of get a full picture.
Right.
Do you want the sketch plans A and B?
I have the printouts of them, if that helps, but
But do you want to be able to put them up on the screen is what I'm asking? Or do you want to just make it a loose report?
I think I'd do loose right now. Until
yeah.
Okay.
we don't want to try to present Mark's stuff before Mark's done with it.
Everything else
Yeah.
is on the website, so if they're checking, and every time you guys accept minutes, I send them to Rose and Rose passes them along, so they're getting copies of your minutes personally.
And maybe it's reasonable to say at this stage, we have two plans that we're looking at. One is a single story, one is a two-story. We're looking at the pros and cons of that and are working with Mark Lee on costs.
Perfect.
That way we're giving them the idea of the plans, but not too.
Yeah, except I think we kind of wanted for Mark 3. We wanted like the minimum, the smallest.
Which is why I wouldn't spend a lot of time on the buildings yet.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just kind of talk about where you're at as opposed to trying to predict the results before we get there.
More what you got for feedback, like in January about buildings.
What do you mean?
Yeah, it's just so similar to what we've already presented to them last time. It's like almost the same thing. Which I think we should just give them an update as to what we've done since then, but that wouldn't include January,
Yeah.
obviously, but
Yeah.
they will know we're working.
I mean, in a lot of ways, this may sound bad, but I don't put a lot of weight into the stuff we heard in January just because there weren't that many people there.
Yeah.
So when you think of the percentage of the town's population that participated was pretty small. So I think I just highlight the process you're going through and where you're at. So,
Yeah, keep it simple at this
And I
point.
have more cards for anybody that wants them in my office, so if you need more to circulate, they're downstairs. You guys got them for the town meeting, but I do have more if you need them for other places.
Yeah, we probably hit, what, 90% of the people there?
It's really
I'm like,
well
Leslie,
received.
don't give that.
It was really well received. Oh, yeah, great, great.
Yeah.
You know, it was
Yeah.
really great. I
Yeah,
felt good about that.
yeah, so,
It's just nice to be visible.
Yeah.
People are
right, right.
glad to see you.
Okay, so, confirm timeline for next update to present to select board.
And I'll be
Which is
responsible to tell Mark.
June
We'll decide when
19th.
it is.
But he's not going to a select board meeting, right?
But we agreed on June 19th.
Yes.
Okay.
Do we need to add anything here for an update as to what you and Leslie did or no?
What did
Is
we,
there any kind of information to
oh,
share?
do we have any updates from the text today?
No, not yet.
No, not that.
Oh.
For, when you guys were at the,
When we sat there?
yeah.
No, we just talked to people and gave them cards or the fact sheet and.
They
No,
really liked the fact sheet.
Yeah.
because They could just do a quick little
Yeah.
once over.
yeah, no one really had much for questions.
And most of them were familiar with it. It's
Mhm.
not like, what? What are you talking
Mhm.
about?
Yeah,
I
I think
agree.
they were kind of.
I think they were the more
Involved,
mobilized people
Yeah.
in the community.
yeah, so.
That's good.
I mean, I think, did you guys take, like an attendance thing for how many people show up? I think I
There
counted
were-
over 100.
I did Linda's, I went in on the warrant and did all the adjusting, the voted yay, nay, all who nominated that stuff, and we had 123 registered voters.
Which is better than we've had at town meeting in quite a few years.
And that was the quickest town meeting we've ever had. Close, close.
Was it really? Yeah.
Pretty close, yeah.
Called to
Yeah.
order at 7:19 and adjourned at 7:43.
Yeah.
48, 7:48.
Thank you, Karen.
Yeah, right.
He's notorious for that. He's notorious for that.
Yeah, so that was great. Okay, so June 19th, Steve and I will be there. And moving on. Review minutes from May 19th. Although we have May 7th here too. Is that because of corrections or?
We approved May 7th last time.
Oh, okay. So May 19th.
Didn't have the minutes.
Oh, but we hadn't printed them out, that's right. 'cause Pam wasn't here.
Yeah, I had my copy. That's what it was. So, okay. So. Did I read these? Okay, yep.
Move to accept the minutes.
All in favor? Aye. All right, meeting is accepted. All right, follow-up action steps.
Pam will notify Mark the next meeting once you decide.
Can we go back for 1 second?
Yeah.
Just because the follow-up action steps were communicate to Mark Lee what the committee wants to review at the next meeting. And we included, first one was the date for the new select board meeting, which we will take off because we're not inviting him. We had, you and I were gonna connect, which was my fault because I never reached out, but
Our faults.
competitive pool size with the therapeutic,
Yep.
request to continue to move forward with options for both C and D designs. Difficult to make decisions until we know more about the cost estimates, and rough numbers of both specific to the sites.
Mhm.
So I think it was more than just telling him when the next meeting was, it was doing an email saying, here's when we want you to come to the next meeting.
Can you shoot me an email what you want specifically?
That's what that's
Okay.
where I dropped the
Enough.
ball, because I was supposed to send it to Steve to review, and
Okay.
I didn't
Do
do
you
that.
have time?
Yes,
You're okay now.
I will do it this week.
Okay.
I mean, it's actually pretty well summarized here in the minutes.
Yeah, if we just go to that,
Yeah.
and the May 19 minutes at the end. Other than the date for the select board.
Mm.
We need to choose our next meeting.
Summertime
Can you use
meetings.
that, Pam, or do you want me to still
I
draft
can
something?
use that. I can copy that right out.
Alrighty, this will be fun.
It's not up there, right? She was gonna try to come. Mark, nobody's waiting to come in, right?
Nobody's,
Yeah, she was
She didn't think
driving,
she could,
so she
yeah.
didn't think she.
Yeah.
she
Oh, I
could.
thought you said she was driving and she would listen.
which she could be doing, or
You can just be.
she could be doing it through YouTube, because we're also live on YouTube right now.
Again.
If you're there. Alright, so we want to do it after 4th of July,
July 7th.
July 7th.
Works for me.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve.
Mm,
Allison.
Looks like the conservation committee's in this room, starting at 5:30, but we could go downstairs.
Downstairs.
Yeah, but yeah. So confused in July.
What we
I don't need
have
to
a-
give you my, I don't need to give you my drama.
You could be a drama llama if you like. Do you want us to pick another day?
Let's just go with the 7th, because I can't tell you whether the following week is good or
You're
not.
not there yet? Okay.
And I will reach out to Mark Lee, and that might not be a
Might-
good
yeah.
date for him, so I will confirm that it works.
Okay, do we want to shoot for a backup now since we're together?
Either way, I can run up here. I just don't know whether I'm there that week. I have it open the 4th and that week, but then the guy I work with told me he was taking off the 11th, the 18th, so
Ah,
we have
okay.
2 separate vacations and we're both working on the same project together, so I don't know how that's gonna work.
That sounds like fun,
Yeah, it's
not.
It's not good.
Okay, so either the 7th or the 14th.
14th.
I can't do the 14th, but
Okay.
don't.
I would say the 7th or the 21st.
And the 14th would be hard to come up with a room, so we get 2 other meetings at the same time.
Okay, I can do the 21st.
So one of them's bike pets, right?
Allison, how's it look for you?
Like,
21st?
Same
Heather?
thing.
I think it should be fine.
Okay,
We just have All Stars. So I don't think.
You guys all, I'm so
No, I-
jealous. You guys all know your schedules.
The 7th,
I'm away the July 14th. Oh, no, I can do the 21st, yes. I'm away
7th
the
or
14th.
21st.
I can do those both. yes.
okay, so let's shoot for the 21st as a backup if the 7th doesn't work.
Tomorrow.
Cool.
All right, anything else? Motion to adjourn? Anybody?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Why are you hesitating today?
Leslie jumped on that one. Gonna be
I know, she gave me the eyes. I'm like, oh, she's like for you.
She's like, that's my job.
Oh, sorry. I
Not
was
yet.
trying to
I
help.
haven't heard the vote, I haven't heard the vote pass.
All in favor?
Aye,
Aye, aye. So adjourned at 5:50.
aye, aye.